I can't really believe I'm making this anyway. So yeah, that news came out that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet outsold every other Pokemon game, and the game gets launched on Switch, selling 10 million copies in 3 days. And the game has tons of issues. There's a few things to go through about that. I forgot what I was talking about. Let's go briefly. I think the first thing I was going to talk about was the positive mentality that people have. It's a psychologist thing, I think. In therapy, they tell you to focus on the positives and ignore the negatives, which only applies to people who are able-bodied, or at least don't get fixations. But it's lazy to do that, yeah. But I think it's also immoral. There's no denying that, because it can lead you to places where you can justify anything. Like, for example, you can probably say beat up someone to keep it sort of safe for work, as long as it does something positive for you, and that's ignoring the reason why, and the impact that has on that person you beat up, and maybe people around them. Also, there's a domino effect, and that sort of encourages that beating up person to either do bad things or dive into some sort of a bad mental health state, or depression maybe. It's just different things. That mentality of just focusing on the positives is dangerous as fuck. I know that from playing games for 20 years now. Yeah. Not every game is for everyone, but even then, there's just so many issues with focusing on just the positives. I think the other thing to mention is the only reason it sells is because of supply and demand. I think so long as you support the idea with your money, which is an important thing to state here, that will continue to exist. So basically, all these 10 million people should be ashamed. I'm not going to fucking sugarcoat it. You're all a bunch of cunts. You've ruined the franchise. Your fault. And it's not mine because I haven't put any money into that fucking game. The last Pokemon game I bought was Sword and Shield. And yeah, it's shit. And I think I probably would have gotten a refund. I even replayed it, I think. Actually, I didn't know. I played the DLC and that was it. Which for some reason I fucking bought. I shouldn't have. But, I'm part of the problem there. I'm one of the cunts. This sort of leads into this other thing about standing by what is right. People don't hold each other accountable, and that's a big problem I've noticed in the gaming community. There's no accountability. So long as your money goes to a company like, say, Ubisoft, who allegedly sexually abuses people, you're going to support that. You're supporting everything that company does. It's about causing the least amount of harm possible. So yeah, anytime you're involved in a Ubisoft game with your money, you're supporting that thing. It supports the negatives. It makes those things acceptable. The same sort of thing applies here with Pokemon, whatever the fuck's happening now. Maybe management or corporation stuff. I'm just glad not to be a part of that shit anymore. It's about finding good alternatives. Leads into the next thing before that, about supply and demand again. I have to do it. The same thing applies to other things, like cheap Amazon products, slave labour maybe. That depends what it is really, because sometimes you can avoid it. There's also animal agriculture, who inherently is cruel to animals because of their practices. But once your money goes to that supports it, and also the idea of an animal being in a vulnerable position. That's what you're perpetuating. Because of that vulnerability, there's always going to be problems with what they're doing. And the only way to stop that is stop funding it. Entirely. But the thing I've realised recently is because I have an urge to play Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, because some of the gameplay looks good, I've had to find a way to cope to not support that. And also I've been struggling with Genshin Impact 2. I don't want to spend on the gacha, and luckily I think I've convinced myself not to. Or I might have to, actually. Fuck. I just realised it's like a rerun, and it's taken my interest. Anyway, I think things like that, where you get an urge to play a game because of how good it looks, I guess. Or plays, I mean. Pokemon Scarlet doesn't look good. What you have to do is redirect it. Redirect your, I guess, money. But when I first thought of it, I was talking about I was writing something, thinking about how shit it must be to see that a game like this piece of shit, outsells others that are good. But also, like shit games like this do better than fucking indie games. How shit must it look? It must feel terrible. Especially because with indie games, like people put their heart and soul into it. And at the moment I'm playing Deep Rock Galactic. That's fun as fuck. It's the most fun I've had in a shooter since forever probably. I've never had that much fun. And it's unbelievable to me that even though the game has taken off a bit, it hasn't ever reached the heights that, say, Call of Duty ever have. But at least then, I'm supporting a game I enjoy, and that others enjoy, and that future generations could enjoy. And I plan on playing other indie games at some point. There's Whole News Odyssey, and there's a game called Back to Bed, which I need to fucking play. It's been installed on my SSD for about 2 years, I think. For fuck's sake. There's just nice indie games out there, and also there's some big games out there that are good. I've got Batman Arkham Knights, or Arkham City, is it? It's one of the Arkhams. It's like a big open world and it looks good. That's actually probably some of the best graphics I've seen in a game. And also the coolest looking world, really. Got so much detail. But what I was going to say was, I redirect my sort of urge to something else. Because variety is the spice of life, and I think I need to try different games. What I've done now is I've looked into playing a different game instead, for Switch even. And that game is Xenoblade Chronicles. I've heard the soundtrack is amazing. And I've heard only good things about the Xenoblade games, to be honest. There's nothing like Melee for some reason. I don't think things should be defined by memes necessarily. I'm watching Amphibia at the moment. It's a really good TV show. But there's like no memes for it. I think there is for any Disney show actually. Yeah, anyway. point is that I'm going to play a game that interests me, which costs the same as Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and it's a game that's regarded as good. So that's generally just a solution for it, really. Find a game you're interested in, ignore the one that obviously is bad, that you shouldn't put money into. Just so basic. I'm not sure why I didn't realise that sooner.